Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 129. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Today, we are talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, HBO's The Last of Us Season 2, our most anticipated games of 2024, and more. But as usual, we're going to start with our recent activities. I just want to apologize, first off, for having this episode be delayed by a week. I fucking caught COVID, so I actually couldn't do anything for like a whole week straight. But yeah, we're back, and we're going to start with our recent activities. I will go first because I got a bunch of shows and anime. For once, anime, because, you know, when I got nothing else to do, I might as well start catching up on anime. I've been catching up on some other things as well, but I'll talk about those when I actually finish them. So first up, The Boys Season 3. So this is the current season that's out, not including Gen V. That is for The Boys. Season 4 is going to come out soon, I believe. But Season 3 was the last season to come out, and I finished it. No spoilers whatsoever, but that season was also very crazy. There were definitely some choices that I think certain characters wouldn't have made, but they obviously went that direction because they were like, we gotta have the show progress in a way, so we're just gonna have this character do a certain thing, which I'm not like a huge fan of sometimes. Right. If you've seen the season, you would know what I'm talking about with some of our main characters and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's the same old crazy, just like superhero nonsense where I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. And there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of blood, gore, a lot of twists and turns and shit that I'm just like, okay, yeah, like this is crazy. It's still like one of the best superhero shows out there. I do think it's losing a little bit of its steam, but after watching the first couple of episodes of Gen V, I'm like, okay, yeah, like they still know how to tell good stories and make good characters and things like that. But like I said, I'll talk about that show when I actually finish it. Some of the anime I've been watching: Demon Slayer, Swordsmith Village Arc. This is the newest season of Demon Slayer, and I finally got around to watching it and finishing it. The reason why it took me so long is because the first and last episodes are like an hour long, so it's like, okay, I actually have to like sit down and like prepare myself to like just watch like an hour of Demon Slayer from start to finish on both ends of it. But yeah, I really do like this season. I think a lot of people are shitting on it just because Zenitsu and Inosuke are pretty much nowhere in this season, which I think is pretty much what happened within the manga. They weren't really in this arc of the story. It was mainly just Tanjiro and Nezuko just trying to like fight these demons or whatever the hell's going on. So yeah, I mean, I like Tanjiro, obviously I like Nezuko, and the ending of this season was what I thought happened at the end of the Entertainment District arc, but I got those two mixed up because it was so long ago when I read the manga. When I saw the ending of the last season, I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen this season. So I was finally happy to see this like be animated and sort of how they did it and everything. So yeah, you know, I just still like Demon Slayer, even though I do think it's sort of like reaching its like, I guess it's past its peak now with like Mugen Train and everything like that, and people are sort of getting over it. And I think that this season definitely shows that because people really do like Zenitsu for whatever reason, and Inosuke. And Inosuke is cool. Zenitsu, I'm still like, he's just like a yelling kid or whatever. But yeah, you know, Demon Slayer is still a lot of fun. But just prepare yourself for the first episode and the last episode to be an hour long, because they want to put those in theaters and then have it coincide with like the new season or whatever the hell they're doing to make more money. So
you gotta make that money.
Yep, I get it. So then the last anime I watched is Girlfriend Season 2. I had no idea this shit came out, but you know what? I had COVID. I was like, fuck it, let me just go and watch some trash ass anime. This season is honestly kind of bad. I'll be for real. I think season 1 was like good trashy, but like this one is just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I know like the animation has always been like really bad with I guess harems like this, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, like the animation is like especially bad here. The storytelling, I'm just like, okay, yeah, like stuff's happening. This like, you know, really basic generic guy is somehow able to pull like these 4 girls or whatever. I'm like, all right. And like one of them like low key likes him, and then like the entire season is just about her like trying to accept and trying to like confess her love to him, but like she's like best friends with like one of the other girls who's like been there since the beginning. And I'm just like, all right, I guess this is what we're doing. I don't fucking know, but will they make a season 3? I don't know. Will I watch it? Probably, but yeah, it's definitely. I would definitely say watch season 1. You could skip season 2. I'm not a huge fan of it, but you know, if you want 12 more episodes of just like trashy harem anime, then go for it.
Yeah, there's been like a lot of degen anime lately. Like it's been that, like the magical girl one I keep seeing, like with the 3 girls and shit.
Yeah.
Like 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 what's all this DJ? I mean, I can't judge.
Hey, look,
So,
if it's good, it's good. You know what I'm saying?
hey, I love Dress Up Darling, so I can't say anything.
Oh, of course,
All
of course, of course.
All right, so yeah, I've been playing a lot of catch up as well. Just a lot of DLCs I missed since I had like a month off of school. So I'm like, all right, I really need to like get this shit done. I was like really behind on a lot of gaming stuff. So I'm like, all right, opportunity to do all this shit that I had to do. So first was the 16 DLC. So this was Shadow Drop during the Game Awards, and this is the first part of like the sort of 2-part DLC they're doing. And usually when games do this, usually the first part's like the shorter part, and then the second part's like the real DLC. I've been noticing that a lot. And this is like the shorter DLC. It's basically just like one dungeon. You do it, you get some lore, and that's about it. But it was really good. I think the fights in this dungeon were a ton of fun. Really fun, interesting boss fights. You fight Omega at the end, and he uses a lot of the same moves from Final Fantasy 14, and that was a lot, nice fan service there. And it was just a good time. You got some more lore about some of the things that happened in 16. I won't spoil it or whatever, but it's not too like crazy, but it was still a good time. Like it was about like 3-ish hours, which I think it's fine. I think it's like $20 because you have to buy like both this and the second part together. I think that's a fair price. I know the second part's gonna be like this says it's gonna be like at least 7 hours, so that's like a lot beefier. So definitely looking forward to the second part. But I thought this first part was also a lot of fun. Really hard encounters too. Like I was playing on Final Fantasy mode, which is like the hard mode, and yeah, it was definitely pretty hard. So if you're looking for a challenge, you'll get it. Next is God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. So this one I was really excited for because this also, it wasn't Shadow Drop, but it was announced during the Game Awards and came out like a week later. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't able to get up to it until like 2 weeks ago or something, and I kept hearing so many good things about it, like oh, this is like a great epilogue, like the game is super fun and stuff. I'm like, and it's free, so I was really excited to play it. And then my brother played it, and he's like, yo, this shit is awesome. I'm like, okay, now I'm really gonna play it. And yeah, after playing through the whole thing, I really have to say, like, I can't believe this is free. Like, I'm surprised they just gave this away for free because the amount of quality in this DLC is like insane. Because yeah, it basically acts like a whole epilogue for Kratos and the whole Norse saga. It brings in a lot of things from the older God of War games as well. Like there's a lot of really cool fan service that people that played the older God of War games in this DLC that I won't spoil, but it is super cool. Even someone like me that didn't really play the original God of War games, but I know it because I've seen it so much. Mm-hmm. Even I thought it was cool, but my brother was fanboying. He was like, holy shit, this is so cool. So yeah, the story stuff was really good. Like the amount of voice acting and cutscenes is super impressive for just like this free to play DLC. And then as for the gameplay itself, it's structured like a roguelite. So, each time you die, you have to restart a run and stuff. And you basically beat the DLC after you do it like 4 times, I think. So it's really structured like Hades a lot. If you ever played Hades, that game's more of a story-focused roguelite, and this takes a lot of cues from that game as well, which is great. I think having a more story-focused roguelike is a great way to get more casual people into the genre, since it's a really hardcore genre in general, since dying and losing all your progress isn't like a great feeling for a lot of people. For me, I really like that gameplay loop, but for a lot of people, they need more of a hook to that, and I think adding story to it is a great incentive to keep going with the roguelite stuff. And also, it just gives you more replay value and, more play time for less dev resources as well, because, here's randomized encounter and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, in terms of gameplay, you basically go through room to room. Each room, you can sort of like pick what room you want to do, so you could pick a room that gives you gold or gives you more perks or whatever. Basically like Hades, it works exactly like Hades. You go to the room, you clear the encounter, and then you get like whatever reward you want to. There's persistent upgrades you could get with like the different currencies, so you can make the runs easier as you keep going. So even if you keep dying, the game will get easier as you keep playing it, just like Hades. So it's cool how it took a lot of inspiration from Hades, because I think that's one of the best roguelites in terms of like accessibility. It's probably like my third favorite roguelite behind like Isaac and Gungeon, but I'm glad a lot of games are taking cues from Hades, because I think that's the way to make roguelites very accessible and fun for, like, I guess people that aren't into the genre. And I think God of War Ragnarok, Valhalla does it super well. It makes for a really fun gameplay loop. You could choose what weapon you want to use mostly. Like you can use the Blades of Chaos, the axe, and some other weapon I won't say because it's kind of a spoiler. But yeah, it's just a fun roguelike. Get upgraded, you fight bosses, you go to the end, you do it again, and then yeah, that's the whole gameplay loop. It's super fun. A lot of great story moments, great fan service as well for people that has played the older God of War games. Honestly, just great. And I almost feel like I want to give them $20 for making this. I'm like, it's crazy it was free. But yeah, super great DLC. If you ever played Ragnarok, definitely don't ignore Valhalla. Like, it is a super great time. Next is the Pokemon Violet DLC. So this is the second DLC for Pokemon Violet, the Blueberry Academy stuff. I forgot what it's actually called. I think I forget. Hidden Treasures Area Zero. So yeah, this is basically the bigger expansion of the two. The first one was the Island DLC, which I actually really enjoy. It was like this sort of smaller landmass, and you have this fun little story and stuff. The second DLC is a lot bigger. The landmass is huge this time. You get like this. It's like that My Hero place from that first movie where you're in the ocean school place. It's basically exactly like that. And they have like this sort of like Terror Dome where it has like 4 different biomes you could go to, and there's a bunch of different Pokemon to get. And I really enjoyed how the game is all double battles this time. Like this whole expansion is just all double battles, so it makes the fights a lot harder. Same thing with the level caps. They're like, I think all the trainers are like level 80 to 90 Pokemon or something. So it makes all the fights a lot harder. They use double battle strategies, which I'm not too familiar with because, most Pokemon games are single battles. But, because you use a lot more crazy strategies and stuff. And each like Elite Four fight I like lost like at least half my team, which is great. Like I love that the game is like beating the shit out of me. I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. Like I really like it when Pokemon actually uses its mechanics to like actually like challenge you, I guess, because you only really get that during multiplayer battles and stuff. And the single player campaign is usually you just kind of sweep everything. So it's cool that they're actually using like the battle systems to its advantage and stuff, because I think that's really cool. Even with like the story, I think was pretty good as well. Like I know with Pokemon and story you don't really think about it that much, but I think Gen 5 and 7 had really good stories, and I actually think Gen 9, with all of Scarlet and Violet's faults, I do think like the story and characters and stuff actually are pretty good because they let their characters breathe a bit more, since you could just kind of like talk to them in the school and stuff and just do nothing but talk to them. And and you could skip it. Like if you don't give a shit about that, you could just skip it and just keep fighting monsters or whatever. But if you want to like get more of that shit, you could do it if you want. I think that's the best compromise for it. Because, I know a lot of Pokemon fans hate reading, but, this game gives you the choice too. So I think that's a smart way to do it. It gives people that want to, it's still an RPG at the end of the day. So I still want to have something there. As I've grown older, I come to appreciate that a lot more than when I was a kid and just be like, I just want to catch the Pokemon. I don't give a shit. Obviously, if that's all you care about, that's fine. But, I like to have a little more than that. But yeah, the DLC is good. Obviously, it still has all the issues that Scarlet and Violet has. It's buggy. It runs like ass. It actually runs even more ass than the last DLC. It's right around more ass than the base game. So it's actually insane how badly this game runs. And it sucks too, because like I think Scarlet and Violet are like good games. And I know you get kind of crucified for saying that, but like I legit haven't had this much fun with Pokemon since like Sun and Moon came out. Like Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet are like so fun to play. Like I enjoy them like way more than I should, and it sucks that they just run like total ass, and like you can't say that while being like, oh, you're a show, which like yeah, I get it, but they're just so fun. Like I think the gameplay loops are super fun. I honestly think like the stories and characters, like all this stuff has been like super great. It's just so held down because Game Freak kind of just sucks, and like they can't like have more time to make anything. And the second DLC really shows that, yeah, they are passionate about this series when they want to be. It's just that, they're kind of held down by having this whole production cycle of like, oh, release the game so you could promote the movies and TV show and Pokemon cards and all that shit. So it does get kind of tiring, but hopefully Gen 10 could be good, and the upcoming Gen 5 remakes, because they're definitely coming at this point. Hopefully those are good and polished. Probably not, but I'll buy them anyway because I am a goddamn shill for this series. So yeah, I think the Pokemon Violet DLC was pretty good. But yeah, just keep in mind when it's like absolute ass. And last is RE4 Remake. So yeah, this was sort of like one of the 2 games I wanted to get to in 2013. Whoa.
Oh shit.
2023. that I wanted to get to, but I couldn't, because there was too many games. And in November I was kind of just swamped with like school and work and shit, so I couldn't really get to really anything. In October I used all my gaming power on fucking like Spider-Man and shit. So finally I got up to RE4 Remake. I'm almost done with it. I need 2 more chapters. The game is fucking great. The game is really, really good. I could see why it was in a lot of top 10s. I could see why it was nominated for Game of the Year. Because out of the few RE games I played, I played RE2 Remake, RE3 Remake, and RE5. This is definitely the best one I've played. Like it's super good. I've only played a little bit of the original game. I played like the first third of the original, and I thought it was great. But I think this remake just does everything it does, but like better, at least gameplay wise. The tone of the story and the characters. The game is a little less cheesy than the original, which people don't like. But it's still there. Leon still makes little quips and stuff. He's still like an absurd action hero. Like the game is not scary at all. Like you're just roundhouse kicking zombies and shit. Like it's super fucking fun. The boss fights aren't shit for once. Like I think RE2 and 3's boss fights are just kind of mid. The boss fights in this game are actually pretty good. It's super fun just to like I said, roundhouse kick zombies and shit, grab all the treasures, just upgrade your weapons. It has just a very satisfying gameplay loop of just collecting a bunch of stuff, upgrading your guns, getting stronger, going through the game. The one thing I do miss is that there's basically like no puzzles in this game. I think 2 and 3 had like the puzzles were very kind of light in the remakes, but they were still there. This game has like maybe like 5, and they're like very easy. So I feel like that part of that game was lost. Same thing with it again being scary. Like I don't think the game is scary like at all, because like Leon is so overpowered, you could just kill whatever. It's kind of like I think Dead Space, the Dead Space remake did this better, where Isaac felt very strong, but the game was still like really scary. Even though you were strong, like you're basically as strong as Leon is in this game, but like I feel like RE4 just kind of goes more over the top with stuff, so it's just kind of silly, which I don't mind. Like I like both the scary and silly RE games, like it's fine. But yeah, I'm just saying, like if you're expecting this remake to have like it does have a more serious tone, but it's still silly. Like Leon is still like backflipping off walls and shit. Like it's still like a good time. And just the amount of content in this game is also insane. Like the main campaign is around 20 hours. Like it's pretty long for a RE game. You also have all the New Game Plus options you could do. You have the Mercenaries mode. You have the Separate Ways DLC, which I need to play later. There's just a lot on offer here, and it's usually on sale pretty often now, like maybe for $40. High recommendation. Like I am really enjoying it a lot, and I'll probably talk about it one more time, when I finish it. But yeah, RE4 is fantastic, and I can see why it's everyone's like favorite in the series. And yeah, it's just fucking great.
Funny thing is that randomly my girlfriend Emma, she just wanted me to play Resident Evil 2. And
you should.
Yeah, we were playing it, and that game is, I guess I was just stupid when it came out. I was just like, man, I'm like stuck on like these stupid ass things. But like I'm like, with her help, I was able to like get through a lot of it. But we're still like early on in the game. We're still like trying to find those 3 medallions or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, but whenever she has the controller, she just blows through all the ammo, and I'm like, yo, I just had like 20 bullets. What the fuck did you do? But, I'm excited to like actually maybe later this year I'll be able to dive into the Resident Evil games, but with the buzz around Prince of Persia and everything, I'm just I'm just like it's gonna be another swamped year, I feel, but you know, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we show our list. For anticipated stuff. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the news within the games industry and also some Hollywood stuff. So first up, the biggest thing that has come out within the past couple of weeks is the Nintendo Switch 2. There's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of predictions suggesting that the next Nintendo Switch is going to release later this year, 2024. And it will be around $400, with the games being priced at $70. And a quote from the article, the next system is also likely to be an iteration rather than a revolution. So it really is probably just going to be a Nintendo Switch 2. It's not going to do anything crazy or anything like that. Nintendo is always known to just like stay in their own lane, like they're just doing their own thing. All I hope is that the games are able to run smoothly. Like, I just wish that the games are able to run at a steady 30. Steady 60 would be a miracle, but I doubt that like a lot of the games are gonna try to hit that mark. They're probably gonna be steady 30, look pretty, do whatever. I don't need them to be like, PS5, Xbox Series X level. I just want the games to run fine. But if it's actually going to come out later this year at $400, $70 games or whatever, I wonder what lineup they're going to have, because I feel like a lot of Nintendo Switch or Nintendo consoles, I should say, when they launch, they have a decent lineup of games, and then like months after, it's just like a drought of like nothing.
Yeah, I feel like you. Like I feel like the Switch kind of feels like their perfect console, right? Like they finally did, like they combined their handheld and their console like into one thing. You still got your motion controls, you still got your gimmicks in there, but I feel like this is kind of like the base all Nintendo consoles should probably be at this point, since you have the best of both worlds now, and with that portability also comes sacrifice of power. So I would still like it to be way stronger. Like I think being at least at PS4 Pro levels would be nice. Like you said, like I want just stable frame rates. Like I don't know if it's 30 or 60, but I would like to just have a stable frame rate and it just be like that. Because I do think most Nintendo first party games look great. Like they still look really good even on this really old hardware, and they run pretty good as well. Like Mario, Zelda has some frame rate issues, but it's not as bad as some other games. Pikmin like runs really well and looks good. So they know how to use the hardware. I just, it'd be nice to have that extra leniency in power, and that's all I really care about. I've already been on record saying, like, I think the Switch is Nintendo's, like, best console at this point. Like, the amount of games they've been producing that are, like, just straight up the best in the series is, like, insane. So, I think going for this iteration idea is honestly novel for Nintendo because they always want to just do something crazy. So it's kind of nice to have something that's a bit more normal. The $70 games though is always gonna hurt, right? Because it's always just like, all right, here it is. I think Nintendo at first said like, oh, we're only going to do it for games that deserve to be 70, like Zelda. But now it's just like, I've just probably put everything at 70, which is like we probably should have seen it coming. But yeah. And like you said with the launch lineup, I'm not too sure. I feel like that Thousand Year Door remake is gonna be a Switch 2 game at this point, like just because some people are saying it looked too good to be a Switch game. Also, I think it could just be a cross-platform game as well. It could be for Switch 1 and 2. I don't know. But I have a feeling Metroid Prime 4 is going to be like, I don't know if it's going to come out this year or next year, but I feel like it's going to be a launch window for Switch 2. Like, I think that's going to be the next big thing. Same thing with the next 3D Mario as well, because it's been like a while since Odyssey came out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of what's going to happen with the Switch 2 is obviously still up in the air. Me and Damian were talking about it before we started recording, but I feel like that's why they're releasing all of these Switch games at the beginning of the year with like Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Princess Peach Showtime. It's all coming out within this first half of the year. And then we don't know what's going to come out later this year because I'm sure they're still trying to figure out like what can we have on both systems to come out simultaneously. And I want to agree with you that Paper Mario is probably going to be on both systems, but I don't know if that's strong enough as like a launch title for like a Mario game,
Yeah,
because it's like, it's definitely like a much lesser known Mario game compared to like, I don't know, obviously like Mario Kart's like fucking huge. And then like if they were to have like maybe like Mario Wonder 2 or something like that, I don't know, having like a staple like Mario title on there or something like that is a lot better than like Paper Mario, and I'm sure like the Paper Mario fans are gonna fucking hate me for saying that, but like it's true. Like Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door, like it's only really well known amongst like hardcore gamers and like a much more adult audience like us. Kids don't know what the fuck that game is. When they saw it at the Nintendo Direct, they're like, oh look, a new Paper Mario game. That's probably what they thought of. But, obviously it's like times are changing. Hopefully that when we do get to the Switch 2 and, once this stuff actually does become a reality, we do get to see like a pretty solid, decent lineup. And with the whole thing about games being $70, it's just like, it's just how it is now. When PlayStation first started doing it, it was like, like people were kind of hesitant, but at the same time, it's like, what the fuck are you going to do? Are you just not going to pay the $70 for this game because you don't like the price or whatever, or are you just gonna suck it up the extra $10 and then just pay for it? I still think that $70 is a lot, but I think that for like the scope of like how big and how massive the games are, I think that that's fair. Like $70 is like enough. There was this whole thing like a month or so ago with like GTA 6 or whatever being like $100, and I'm like, that would be a little ridiculous. Like, I don't think they're gonna go that far, but if they fucking do, are people actually gonna put their wallets down and be like, I'm not gonna buy it? I doubt it, because people have been waiting over a decade for that game, so they might bite the bullet if it were to be at $100, but that's a whole other topic. But yeah, you know, Switch games being $70, I think that's fine. People did it with Tears of the Kingdom, and no one really batted an eye there, just because it's Zelda. People are not gonna, you know, say I don't want it because it's $70. They're like, well, it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild, so it's probably worth that $70, right? So, and it was. So
yeah, it's always a complicated thing with the $70 thing, because I'm just like, if the quality is good, I probably won't really care too much because I'm going to enjoy it anyway. But like, I still understand for some people, especially with regional pricing, how it really fucks over people there. So I get it. There's like arguments against both. I mean, I would prefer it to not be 70. Like, I prefer to always pay less, because, you know, that's just how life works. But you know, I guess if they're doing it, then that's fine. I mean, if there's any company that usually has the best sort of like launch day things, it's probably Nintendo. Like, you know, usually I buy them at launch and like it's fine. I don't think I've ever really been bitten in the ass that much about any Nintendo game except Pokemon, but they don't count. You know, everything else, every other Nintendo game, I'm usually like really confident about like a day one purchase. And yeah, usually it hasn't really bitten me yet. So, yeah, I know, like, show, I get it. But, you know, I get it. I wish it was a 70, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess. And we still don't know either. But
yeah, everything's still like rumors, speculation. But, you know, when we do get the official word, whether it be this year, early next year, who knows? Because I believe the Nintendo Switch launched in March. When it came out, so you know they could be doing that thing again, or if they actually want to, you know, make it to that holiday window, you know, whatever it is, we'll know hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, you know, according to all Nintendo laws, like there should be a direct in February, so I guess we'll see what happens then. But you know, until then, we'll see. All right, so we got some cool news here, or I guess bad news for Xbox fans. Hi-Fi Rush going to be coming to PS4 and Nintendo Switch. So yeah, it was like, it was rated in Australia for like Nintendo Switch and stuff. And, you know, all this like came out being like, oh, it could be on other consoles and stuff. And, you know, I don't really know what Microsoft's strategy is for like exclusives and stuff. I don't know if they want to keep it just like maybe a year exclusive and then release it to other platforms, or if they just want to have full exclusive. Like, I don't know, like if Starfield's ever going to leave Xbox, right? Yeah. Like, I don't think it will, but maybe for lesser games. I'm not calling Hi-Fi Rush a lesser game, but I guess to them it is. I'm just like, oh, release it everywhere else. Like, who cares? I mean, either way, I think it's great because like more people should play this game, because I fucking love Hi-Fi Rush. I thought Hi-Fi Rush was fantastic. So, you know, the more people that could play it, the better. But you know, it really comes into question, like, what the fuck is Microsoft doing with like the exclusive? Like, do they want exclusives or not? That's like if they put like, if Nintendo was like, all right, Pikmin's on like PS4 now, like go play it. Like, it's just weird, you know?
Yeah, it definitely is kind of strange and sort of questionable as to, in terms of like what Xbox and what Microsoft wants in terms of like exclusivity and sort of how they want to push the Xbox consoles, because like that's how you sell consoles, right? Like you have those exclusive games that you can only play on there. Obviously, Hi-Fi Rush was on PC, so like a lot of people had that option. But to those people who are only on console, it's like, well, if you only have a Switch or even a PS4/PS5, you can now play this game. So that's cool. As someone like me who hasn't played the game yet, if it comes out on the PS4, I might just buy it on there if it's like actually optimized and everything like that. I think for the quote unquote lesser games to be ported on here, I think is fine, just because you're not using as many resources as compared to like something like Starfield. Like that game's gonna take a lot of money and a lot of resources to get ported onto anything else that isn't already on Xbox/PC, right? So for them to have this game, which is, you know, a much shorter title, probably a lot easier, not saying that it is easy, but a lot easier to sort of finagle with it and sort of make it optimized for the Switch and the PlayStation 4, I think that is fine. You know, obviously, like, I'm probably still going to buy it on PC, if it doesn't actually come out on the PlayStation 4 or whatever the case is, because this game looks amazing. Like, you know, I've seen gameplay of it, I've seen screenshots of it. It's so stylized, it's so cool, and it seems like a game that's right up my alley. So, you know, if it does come to the PlayStation 4 or even PS5, I might buy it on there, just because I do like, you know, having these kind of games on consoles for me personally. But, you know, if it doesn't come to that, I can always play it on PC. So
yeah, I'd probably like buy it again on like PlayStation 4, because I actually played it on Game Pass, because I had Game Pass for a bit. I'm like, all right, sure, I'll do it. Now I regret like not owning it. So I'm probably gonna buy it on PS4 just to like have it. So I mean, yeah, it works good on PC anyway. It's not like that intensive. So but yeah, when it comes out, if this is true, definitely like play it. Like everyone, like it's a very good game.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not the first person that I've heard that's gonna buy it again or play it again or whatever, just because the game is really that good. But yeah, it is definitely kind of weird in terms of like what Xbox is doing with their exclusives and everything like that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what their strategy is.
All right, so now let's get into some Hollywood news. We got Stephen Yeun. He has departed from Thunderbolts, citing scheduling issues, but he still wants to do a Marvel movie. So he was supposed to play Sentry within Thunderbolts, but he has now left the project because he's got a lot on his plate. And obviously, he's a very well-renowned, I guess, Hollywood actor now. Past his days within The Walking Dead, he's done a lot of other projects such as Beef, Minari, and a couple of other movies here and there. And, his schedule, he's like, well, I do want to do a Marvel movie, but you know what? There's other projects that he wants to do, and that's completely fine. I do like him as an actor. Obviously, as a Asian American, I really do like his performances in pretty much everything that I've seen him in. And, whatever else he decides to do, go for it. And whenever he decides to come back to a superhero project or whatever, I will be there. I want to see what he can do within a universe such as the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great actor. Everything he's in, I've always enjoyed it. So I do wonder, if he does come back to the MCU, if he's gonna do the same thing he was gonna be originally, or he's gonna do something else. I don't really know. Again, the MCU has been so up in the air with everything, so it's kind of hard to say. But hopefully he goes to the MCU. I know people hate it when actors go to the MCU. It's like, oh, they're chained to the MCU. I'm like, they choose to do it.
Yeah.
They still choose if they want to be in the thing. And a lot of these actors kind of do want to do it, at least for a movie. Be like, hey, I want to be in the MCU. Why not? So yeah, if he could be in the MCU, I think that'd be pretty sick. But if he can't, because of all the other movies he's doing, then that's just unfortunate. But it is what it is, because I understand how scheduling conflicts could ruin things, I guess. So
yeah,
but I guess we'll see what happens there.
Yep.
All right, so next we have a bunch of Last of Us Season 2 stuff. So Caitlin Dever, right?
Yes, Dever. Yep.
Okay. So she is going to be cast to play Abby. Everyone made the joke, but please, I hope she doesn't look at the internet too much. Because, that's going to be fun for her. Young Mazzino?
Young Mazzino.
Okay, I'm gonna be butchering a lot of names. I'm sorry. He's gonna be Jesse from Last of Us 2. I haven't played Last of Us 2, so I only know Abby. I believe he was from Beef, right?
Yes. This is the guy that played
the brother, right?
Yes, the younger brother to Stephen Yeun. And obviously, if you haven't seen Beef, go watch it. He is great in that. But yeah, I'm excited to see young Mazzino. And then the last one is Isabel Merced. She will be joining the cast as Dina, and she's the one actor that I don't really know much about, but she was the live action Dora. She's going to be in Madam Web as Anya Corazon or whatever, and she's gonna be Hawkgirl within Superman Legacy. So she's been around, maybe not in some very good projects, but you know what, she's been in a lot of movies, and
Dora was great.
A lot of things. So I'm not gonna have her resume sort of say that she can only act in bad things. It is what it is, but I think that all three of these actors, I think that they are perfectly cast. Caitlin Dever, she's been rumored to be Abby for the longest time. So for them to, come out with her first and be like, hey, you know what, this is our Abby, I think that is great. I believe she was originally supposed to be Ellie when they were developing this Last of Us live action thing. So for her to now come in and be Abby, I think that is a perfect parallel kind of thing. Young Mazzino, I've already sung his praises enough, but yeah, I'm just excited to see what they're able to do with this season 2 adaptation of The Last of Us, even though, Neil Druckmann is, a very problematic person within the industry these days. With The Last of Us 2 being as controversial as it is, I cannot wait to see how people react to the story again within the HBO show.
Yeah. Also, when the remaster comes out in a week or 2 weeks from now,
Yeah.
And I would be there because I do want to like actually play it and see the discourse with like my own fresh eyes. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what to do with the series. Like, I wonder how different it's gonna be, or maybe they flesh things out some more. Because I know there's a lot of pacing issues with Last of Us 2, apparently, from what I've heard, and stuff that could have been done a lot better. So maybe the show can make it better. I mean, I love the Last of Us TV show like a lot, probably like a bit more than the game. I really like the game too when I played it, but like I feel like the show did a lot more for the characters and stuff. So I guess we'll see how that translates into a TV show, since apparently it's supposed to be 2 seasons, I think they said. So because season 2, I mean, Last of Us Part 2 is just a longer game in general. So
yes,
a much longer game. So we'll see how they adapt it, but I'm excited either way.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what they're able to do with this HBO series, just because, the cast is, even more ecstatic because of the success of the first season. Now they're able to, pull people in and be like, hey, like this is going to be like a big show, this is going to look good on your resume and all this other shit. So,
yeah,
I cannot wait to see how these 3 actors are going to be able to portray their characters, because, I loved what the characters in the original game were able to do. Yes, even Abby, Abby is, it's not her that's the problem. It might have been just like how like the story was structured and how it was paced and everything like that. But all 3 of these actors, like I said, they are great, and I cannot wait to see what they're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next part of the show, we're going to talk about Marvel's What If Season 2. This came out around Christmas time, and they dropped an episode every single day from when it came out, and now we're talking about it. So yeah, I mean, if you know me, you know that I hated Marvel What If just because of how they connected everything at the end instead of keeping it as a sort of series where like every single episode was like a self-contained thing, which like for the most part they were, but then at the end they had to like connect it all together with like the Omega Ultron or whatever the hell that they were doing. And they did the same shit here. It's just that they had Captain Peggy Carter just sort of be like the connecting tissue between like most of the episodes. She appears multiple times throughout the series. And yeah, I mean, overall, I think season 2 was still bad. There were still like a few good episodes, but even then, like, is it worth watching the whole thing? No. I think that maybe you could watch like 1 or 2 of these episodes and you'll still have like a good time with it. Maybe even 3. But even then, I feel like most of this season is just like, it's just like shovelware, Marvel MCU content. Like when people say like the MCU's bad, this is the kind of stuff that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, like when people do the jokes as like, he's right behind me, isn't he? Like, because I never felt that way about any of the movies too much. Like, I feel like people really over exaggerate that stuff. This is like what they're talking about. This is like the writing in this is like, feels like self-parody a lot of the time. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I feel like the worst episode was definitely the Christmas one. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
like that one,
what, Happy Hogan?
Yeah, I feel like that one was like full of that. I'm like, oh my God. Like, now I know what people mean when they're like bat chest, like fucking MCU. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I don't know. It just to me it feels like almost like a self parody of itself. But again, there are still some good stuff. I actually do like the connecting tissue a bit more in this one than the last one, because I think the stuff with Carter was like a lot better. But that's mostly because like I like the relationship of Ravi in the MCU, so it translates pretty okay to the What If stuff. Like I thought, her and Steve Rogers' thing was cool. Like that's good. Mm-hmm. And same thing with man, I forget her name.
Kahori?
Kahori. Yeah, I thought that was a good episode. Same thing with them like teaming up in the end. Like I felt like the connecting tissue in this one was like a bit stronger, just because it was like more focused on like one character. So like I care a bit more. But I feel like everything else was either forgettable or just like kind of like cringy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh my God. I was like half watching like some of these episodes, which included the goddamn like Happy Hogan episode, and I was just like, how the fuck? Like I get that it's a what if story, but I'm just like, how was he able to just get Banner's blood and then not die from it? Like, isn't like that the point where it's like, right? Yeah, like isn't that like the whole point that like not everyone can like use his blood and shit like that? But I was just like, all right, whatever. Like they're just like throwing shit at the wall just for like the sake of it. So that's definitely like my least favorite episode, but. Yeah, the Corey episode was obviously like the most different. This was like a original character that they brought in for this series, and I think it worked really well. I think that the story that it was telling and everything like that, it obviously had like that MCU nonsense with the fucking Tesseract or whatever, which it was okay, I guess. But I think that the story that of Kahori and like her people and everything like that was really well done. But I guess another episode that I kind of liked was the 1602 episode, like you said, with the whole Steve Rogers and Peggy relationship there, and sort of seeing like these characters within this 1602 era. I guess that was kind of cool, but yeah, still like overall, I was just like, once I got to that finale, and I was like, all right, so we're using the evil Doctor Strange as like the main villain here, and now we're just like connecting everything together, and now Peggy Carter has like fucking everything on her, and I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like,
yeah, I was seeing on Twitter.
Just get it done. I really don't care.
I was seeing on Twitter when that happened. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So yeah, like I don't know. I just feel like them connecting things and making it into like a multiverse story kind of like ruins the thing that makes it like an anthology thing, because then it just feels like kind of disjointed, because you have some episodes that are just kind of there as the anthology part, and then you have some episodes that are like connective tissue things, which is like weird. Like I think Star Wars Visions like really did it well as like a true anthology thing, where it also feels less repetitive too, because each episode's its own thing. It's a totally different art style, and like I really this show makes me really appreciate Star Wars Visions more than I already did, because I feel like that's what that should have been. Because also like the animation is like okay, like I think some of the fight scenes look okay, but whenever they're talking, it just looks kind of like whatever, like just kind of generic and stuff. And with Star Wars Visions, like all the different art styles like really like pop and stuff, and some of them look really cool. All this kind of just combines in my mind as this one big like MCU like blob. So yeah, it was just okay. Like it was whatever. Like I really felt nothing when watching it. Like I like at this point I wish like Captain Carter was just like her own thing, like because I'd probably enjoy that like a lot more than just like this, So.
Yeah, like imagine if this was like a animated like Captain Carter series instead of just like this like what if story as well, where it's like meshing all these things. Like we get it, Captain Peggy Carter is like a what if sort of character, so just make a show about her and not have all these other things connecting it together. But then again, you wouldn't be able to like bring in all of these other characters and whatnot, so like I get it, but at the same time it's like a lot of these episodes I'm gonna be forgetting about them, and when I was watching them I was just like, okay, like I get like what the what if scenario is, but like is this something that people were really asking about? Like what if Iron Man crashed into the Grandmaster? Like that episode I was like, okay, yeah, I guess.
I totally like blanked on that. They're like go-karting or something. I don't even know what was happening in that one. Like
it was like what if Iron Man / Steve Rogers never returned from that portal from Avengers 1 or whatever, and I was like, okay, yeah, like that's a cool story, but like I don't know, it kind of went in like a very weird direction where it was like he was like trying to save these people at the same time instead of like just trying to go home. But yeah, I mean,
And I also feel like a lot of the what ifs are like things like no one would ever fucking ask. Like, what if Helena got the 10 ring? Like, who was asking that? Like, like some of them are good, but some of them are just like, what? Like, I actually did like the ego, like if Star-Lord was never raised, like that's a smart what if, because that's like that's a smart like timeline branch. But I feel like some of the other ones are just like really stretching it. Like, who asked for that? But it's just whatever. Like, I kind of hope they just stop at this point. Like, I didn't know many people that even wanted a season 2 of this. We didn't. We were just like, we're good after the first one. And now I feel the exact same way. Like, I don't really need another what if. Like, again, if they want to do a Peggy Carter show like that's animated, I'll watch it. Why not? But this like sort of structure just doesn't really work for me that much, and I just don't really care for it.
Yeah, especially since because they have Haley Atwell, playing as Peggy Carter, along with some of the other MCU characters playing as their original stuff. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans aren't in this show, so like it is kind of jarring to hear like I guess like their doppelgangers, talk or whatever. But it is what it is. I get it. But yeah, what if I just fucking hope that they stop, because I'm just like no one really talked about season 1 to begin with, other than like the few episodes, and then now they're doing a whole what if zombie show or whatever. All right, that's fine. And now we have season 2, which like sort of dropped, and then no one really talked about it other than that really bizarre and funny finale where everyone was just like, why is Peggy Carter just having everything on her? And same thing for me. Like the moment I saw them like throw everything at her, I was just like, okay, yeah, like just get it over it. Just fucking get it done, so then we can just move on to whatever next thing I need to watch or whatever.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes. So yeah, like it's whatever. No strong feelings for it.
Right. So now we're getting into the last part of the show. I messed up Damian's camera when I did that because I had to open all my shit. But we are now going to go into our top 10 most anticipated games of 2024. So I have my picture copied, and we're going to just paste it into our Google Doc real quick, and then we will list it off to our audio only listeners, and I will have it on the screen for our YouTube watchers. So I will go first. So my top 10 most anticipated games for 2024. So number 1 is Penny's Big Breakaway. Number 2 is Princess Peach Showtime. Number 3, The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. I know, I'm a shill. Number 4, Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Number 5, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Number 6, Another Code Recollection. Number 7, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Number 7, or whatever the fuck. Next game is Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. Number 9 is Star Wars Outlaws. And the last game is Dragon Ball Sparky Zero. The reason I put that one last is because we don't know if it's coming out this year exactly. But if it does, it's probably within my top 5 somewhere. But yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too when I said, all right, but here's mine. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Persona 3 Reload, Final Fantasy 14 Dawntrail, Metaphor ReFantazio, and then Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So those are like my top 5. And then on to number 6 is Princess Peach Showtime, 7 is Dragon's Dogma 2, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door Remake, Star Wars Outlaws, and Princess Persia The Lost Crown. The reason why that's really low, by the way, is because Lily comes out next week. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess we could talk about that game first because, you know, obviously there's a lot of press going on because reviews are now out and people are sort of able to talk about it now. But yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about it. The reason it's not within my top 10 is because I guess it kind of went under my radar. But at the same time, it's like there's other games I want to play from last year that I don't really have time to play this new Prince of Persia. But I've heard a lot of great things about it, you know, with the whole Metroidvania stuff and sort of 2D side-scrolling action and everything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing like super great things about it. Even when I first saw it, you know, it's being made by the same team that made Rayman Legends and Origins. So that already made my interest very peaked up. I'm like, oh, okay, because those are some of my favorite 2D platformers. And, you know, they're probably the best team at Ubisoft at the moment. So seeing them take Prince of Persia, you know, one of the more classic series as well, and make it like, you know, a more refined Metroidvania, I'm like, very excited for that, mostly because I feel like I had a renewed interest in Metroidvanias. You know, I've never been a person that liked them until pretty recently. And, you know, after playing Metroid Dread, I'm like, yeah, dude, like Metroidvanias are pretty sick. So I'm really excited to see how Prince of Persia really takes that formula. And apparently did it really well because it was getting 8s and 9s. So that's great. I'm very excited for it. I love how the game looks. The combat looks really fun, platforming, you know, all the things you expect from a Metroidvania. I also have some cool little innovations as well. Like you could put like a little screenshot on the map, and you can make like a little video showing exactly like what item you would need. So you could like start like run around and like this is what the area looks like on the map. So you know to come back to it if you need like a certain item or whatever. And I think that's really cool. Like I've never seen a Metroidvania do that before. So that seems really interesting as well. But yeah, it looks great. And, you know, it's kind of weird to have 2 Ubisoft games on here as well. You know, I think Ubisoft has kind of been like, I wouldn't say on a roll, but they've been on my radar list, which isn't something that usually happens. Like even the Avatar game I heard was pretty okay, and I'll probably get it on sale at some point. And I guess we'll talk about the other game later. But yeah, Prince of Persia, it looks really good.
All right. I guess I'll pick one of. I guess Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. That's been having a lot of press this past few weeks because early previews sort of went out, and some outlets were like, "This is ass. This is terrible," and then other outlets were like, "This is good." But like, there's like a lot of things that they're still questioning about. So the reason why this is still one of my most anticipated games is because, you know, I love Rocksteady. I love what they did with the Batman Arkham series. Obviously, you know, you've heard it time and time again. You know, people love those games, and I'm still looking forward to see how good or how bad this game is gonna be, because really, no one really knows until they actually play for themselves. Because everyone has like a differing opinion on this game as of right now, and obviously, like, it looks like, just like the HUD itself, there's like a lot of shit going on, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, like that is like not a good first impression. And obviously, like the story of like you killing the Justice League is like something that's like flying over people's heads as well, where it's just like, yeah, we're gonna kill the fucking Justice League, guys, like that's gonna happen, obviously. But obviously, like the gameplay stuff and everything like that, with it being like generic and sort of just like third person shooter game, pew pew pew, whatever. So but it's gonna be done with friends, and I think that that's kind of like an exciting aspect about it. You know, same thing with like Gotham Knights. Like Gotham Knights was a really, really poor game, all things considered. But you know what? You can enjoy it with a friend. And that's like the best part about it, where you could be playing as one of the many Batman sidekicks, and your other friend could be playing as one of them as well. And you guys are just beating up goons or whatever, and just like going across Gotham and everything like that. Like, that's a lot of fun. So will this game capture that same energy? I have no idea. But, it is with Suicide Squad characters, so obviously they're not as cool as like the Batman sidekicks and everything like that. But Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Once it finally drops, we could finally get over the whole, this era of just like Rocksteady, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully they don't get shut down because this game doesn't do well. But, we'll see. I mean, this game has been such like so contentious and like a mixed bag for a lot of people. I mean, I'm of the opinion that I'm like, it just looks kind of boring. Like, I think it will be fun with friends because everything is always fun with friends. So I think that's fine. I do think like to give the Avengers game some credit, I think that game probably did a better job sort of like giving you the fantasy of playing as Iron Man or Spider-Man or whatever than this game does. Cause it's just like, oh, you have a gun, you got some abilities. So that is like kind of lame, but it does look really pretty. And I was seeing some of the cutscenes, like, I like some of the preview ones, and they actually are like kind of funny. So that's good. I hopefully the writing is like good enough to like kind of carry the story and stuff, just to like play through it and that's it. But I guess we'll see when it comes out. In like February, I guess. I think it's on the same day as Persona does. So
yeah, I think it's like February 1st or something like that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be playing Persona, but I'm not picking up to it. If everyone else, if you get it, we could play it. I won't mind. All right, so I guess okay, so I guess I'll talk about Persona since I was just talking about that. So it comes out the same day as like fucking Suicide Squad. Obviously, I'm gonna put this because I love Persona. I love a lot of good JRPGs coming out this year, and I'm really excited to see how they remake Persona 3. I think Persona 3 was, I know a lot of people say, oh, it didn't really need a remake. I think it did. It does make me sad Atlas is going for the more faithful remake route because there was a lot in the other versions of Persona 3 that could have been added to make like a mega version. Like the FES version, which was like the re-released PS2 version, had a whole extra epilogue story that was kind of bullshit hard. And I would have loved if they remade that but made it like more accessible for new people to play, but it's not even going to be in this remake. The female protagonist from the PSP remake also won't be in this. It's just going to be the male protagonist. So that's a little disappointing to see. I know people love the female protagonist, but she won't be in this as well. You can't, like, male characters, you can't have social links with them still, which is really weird. Like you can't be friends with your male friends, which is like just weird. I don't know why that's still a thing.
No homies?
Yeah, no homies. Yeah, it's weird. The Persona 4 and 5 you can, and 3 you couldn't. It's only female characters and some of the other social links. Like none of your male party members could really like get anything. I think they're adding additional scenes with them or something. But yeah, it's being really faithful to the original Persona 3, which is a little disappointing because of all the reasons are listed. But the game looks great. It's going to have all the modern gameplay additions of Persona 5, which is great. Fusing personas won't be a giant pain in the ass. Like it's going to be just as easy as those the future games. And honestly, just being it more accessible for people that want to play, the Persona games is great. A lot of people just played Persona 5. Like that's like the only Persona game they played. So being able to play this game is going to be great for those people. It's going to be great to re-experience this game for me as well, since it's been like a very long time since I played Persona 3, maybe like 7-8 years since I played Persona 3. So it's gonna be cool to re-experience it. I've always liked Persona 3 a lot. It's probably like my least favorite out of the 3 I played, 3, 4, and 5. But I still really like Persona 3 a lot. So I'm gonna be excited to see how they sort of revamp it for a modern age. So yeah, I'm really excited for this game.
All right, I guess I'll jump to another code, Recollection. This is my number 6 game on my list. So this is a sort of collection of a Wii and a DS game that came out years ago, and obviously they are remastering them for the Nintendo Switch. The Wii game never came out within North America, so that's like the big selling point that Nintendo was kind of like running with. And it's a story-driven game. I believe it's much. I'm not gonna say a point and click, but it's pretty much like very bare bones gameplay wise. I believe that there's like some puzzles and whatnot, but you're trying to solve like this mystery, and you're like on this island and everything like that. Like I don't really know much about it, obviously. Like I'm kind of like bullshitting right now, but I'm excited to check it out and sort of see what the game is really about, because I think there's like a small cult following about it. And obviously like it dropped during a Nintendo Direct, which like surprised a lot of people because they were like, holy shit, like they're actually like remaking these games for the Switch. So, and I believe it's coming out very soon as well. I believe it is coming out this month in January. So I should be getting my pre-order copy very soon. But yeah, I'm excited to check that one out.
I guess I'll go for a game that I don't know too much about yet, but I do want to play it, is Dragon's Dogma 2. So I didn't play the first game. This is made by Capcom. We didn't know this, like sort of like their big Western RPG sort of thing they're making. And people love the first Dragon's Dogma when that came out. And that was like 10 years ago at this point. I heard nothing but good things. I've been loving Capcom lately. Mega Man, Monster Hunter, DMC, Resident Evil now. I've been a big Capcom show at the moment. So, and seeing all the gameplay, seeing how the game's looking, I'm like, this looks really good. And I'm kind of just waiting for the reviews to come out, obviously to see if it's good, but also to see if I need to play the first game to get into this. Usually I like to play the first games or the games prior so I could, just experience how the series grows and stuff. I really like to do that. I think it really helps, like, me appreciate the series more. I know that's a really nerdy thing to say, but like, I just really like, I like to see how series grow. Also, it's hard to go back to a previous entry after you play a sequel because it's like, oh, all the modern conveniences are gone. So I like to experience it and then get the treatment like that. I don't know if I will be able to play the first one before the second one comes out because it comes out in March and I already have Persona and Final Fantasy to play through, and that's like a lot already. So it's probably gonna be a bit later, but I do want to at least play Dragon's Dogma 1 this year and then probably play Dragon's Dogma 2 maybe next year, maybe this year. I don't know. It depends how many other games come out this year. But yeah, it definitely looks really cool. Capcom, again, been on fire lately, and I'm excited to see what they cook up for this game. So yeah.
All right. I guess I'll pick Dragon Ball Sparking Zero because I have that at number 10 and you have it at number 5. Obviously, we don't know if it's going to come out this year.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I don't know if it's coming out this year. So
this is like probably the biggest Dragon Ball Z game to come out since Dragon Ball Fighters, I would say. And this is much more for the casual Dragon Ball Z audience, to those people that, played the games on the PlayStation 2, or if you were those few select people that played it on the Wii or whatever. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi is a series that, you would only know if you were there, kind of thing. And if you were to play the games today, I did try to play a little bit for like some gameplay or whatever. And, it is a little clunky, it is definitely not the most polished anime arena fighter today. I would say that would go to like the Naruto Ultimate Ninja series. But, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series has been sort of dormant for a while. They did have that 1 in 3 HD collection a few years ago. Well, maybe not a few years, but a while ago on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. But this is the first brand new sort of Dragon Ball Z Budokai game, and I'm kind of excited for it, obviously.
Yeah, I'm also like way more excited for it than I thought I was, because I'm like, why am I so excited for this? I guess because it's like all those childhood memories coming back, and like, this is gonna be good, I hope. So, but yeah, like you said, we don't even know if it's coming out this year. So I was like reluctant to even put it on here because I don't know, but I feel like it might. Like I feel like it's a pretty strong possibility it's going to come out this year, maybe later in the later half. But I have a feeling it might come out this year. And there's a lot they could do now. There's a lot of you could do all the super content now. The more movies I guess you could put in there. There's a lot of content you could put in this game, and I'm excited to see how they do it. Hopefully they don't flub it up though. Hopefully it's like it comes out great. Yeah. Because, I like the Xenoverse games, but, they don't have that same snappy feeling like the Budokai Tenkaichi games do. Even if they are, like, they are more clunky because, they're old. I still feel that they played a bit better than Xenoverse. But, obviously that wasn't Xenoverse's main strong suit. It was mostly, like, the make your character thing. But I'm excited to see them go just straight up for another Budokai Tenkaichi game. So, hopefully it's good. That's all I could really hope for. Hopefully it's not half-assed.
That's like the biggest thing, because it's like this game's been 5 years in development, and Xenoverse 2 has sort of been holding up the Dragon Ball Z gamers for a while. So hopefully that this game is well worth that wait and they're able to deliver.
Yeah. So I guess I'll continue on my JRPG train with the 4 here. I guess I'll talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So obviously this is also coming out end of February, the 29th, the leap year month, or day rather. And yeah, I'm obviously just really excited for this. I love 7 Remake a lot. I mean, I really like the original 7. 7 Remake, I thought was some of the best action combat like an RPG could have, since I think it did a good job combining turn-based / action together into one cohesive thing. And I feel like any other action RPG should really like follow in its footsteps and how it did it, because it was really good. And I really like the characters and story a lot as well. And 7 Rebirth is just taking that in times like 100. Like now you have like the whole place to explore. You could explore all the things, see all the new stuff, a bunch of side quests. The game is going to be long as shit apparently, so that's fun. It's going to be like 100 hours apparently. So there's going to be a lot to do and see. All the new party members joining you, and I'm just excited to like really jump in there. I guess I'm more nervous about like the main plot. Like they already did a lot to change a lot of things from Remake. So I don't know if they're going to change more things in Rebirth. Probably, definitely. So I just hope it lands good, because there's a good chance this shit could like fall in its face story wise. But I'm still excited just for the gameplay and boss fights and like all the side quests, because I just love how the characters interact in these games. It's great. So yeah, I'm just really excited to play it, and the game just looks fucking beautiful as well. Like, it's just a very good looking game. So yeah, very hyped for this. I hope it delivers in the story front, but even if it doesn't, I know I'm gonna have a good time regardless, just because the game is fun. So yeah, hopefully the story isn't a mess.
All right, I guess I'll talk about my number one, which is Penny's Big Breakaway.
Yeah, I forgot to put this on here. Like, that was a game I was like, yeah, that game looked good. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is made by the same developers behind Sonic Mania, and they have formed their own team called Evening Star. You have Christian Whitehead once again, coming back to sort of head this project, and it's their first 3D platformer. This is sort of their own original take on a 3D platformer. You got this character with a yo-yo. And everything like that, and it looks pretty cool. Obviously it's very colorful, very stylized, and everything like that. So yeah, I'm excited for it. It's supposed to come out early this year. We don't know exactly when, but it's going to be on pretty much everything: Nintendo Switch, Xbox Series X/S, and PlayStation 5. But yeah, I just hope that their first attempt at a 3D platformer is good. I have seen the early gameplay previews and everything like that. They do have like the fixed camera angle, so that might be a little jarring for some people. But you know what? It's going for that, like old school retro 3D platformer aesthetic, and I'm down with it. As long as it's fun, as long as it has this sort of like momentum-based movement as like the Sonic titles have, which with Christian Whitehead there, I'm confident that he knows what he's doing with the physics department and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this as well. Like, I knew there was a game I'm forgetting. I'm like, there was another game, like a smaller game I was excited for, and it was that. Because I think they said it was supposed to come out like late last year, and it just didn't. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously take your time. Like, these things are hard to make. But, yeah, I'm totally down for another indie 3D platformer. I love Hat in Time. Hat in Time is fantastic. Yooka-Laylee is a game. So, yeah, hopefully Penny's Big Breakaway leans more in the Hat in Time quality than Yooka-Laylee. So, yeah, hopefully that game is good as well. All right, so I guess I'll continue on with the JRPGs. I have two more here. So Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. So this is obviously expansion for Final Fantasy XIV. I actually haven't played too much 14 in the last year because of all the fucking games coming out. They kept releasing major patches when big games were coming out. Like, I forget what patches they even were, but they released one patch when Zelda came out. They released another big patch when 16 came out. I'm like, bro, I can't. Like, I'm gonna play the new games first. So actually, I just resubscribed to 14 to actually start catching up because I missed like at least like half a year worth of content. So I need to get through that stuff. But luckily, I have like a lot of time because this shit ain't coming out till summer of this year. So there's still gonna be a lot of time to catch up. But anyway, Dawntrail looks like it's gonna be a really fun time. It's gonna be more of a laid back expansion. After Endwalker came out, that was sort of like the end of the current story arc. Now we're going to some new stuff. There's the two new jobs which look fun. Like I'm really excited for the Pictomancer. It's a new mage job. I love my mages, so I'm excited for a new one since Red Mage came out in like 2017 at this point. So it's been a really long time since I had a new caster to enjoy. So that's gonna be fun. Just the new region looks super fun. It's like based off South America. And then you have like this weird cyberpunk aesthetic going on as well, which also looks really interesting. So yeah, I'm not expecting like a super serious expansion or anything. They've been selling it as more like a summer vacation type deal. So that sounds super cool. More laid back thing after all the shit that happened in Endwalker. It's nice to have a sort of fresh start, new beginning for whatever the fuck they're going to be doing for the next 10 years of this game. So really excited for that. A lot of new content they've been showing as well. Because I know Endwalker has been a little contentious with the 14 community being like, it's been really lax on content. It hasn't been as much stuff to do after the main story. So it looks like they're really addressing that in this expansion by having like a bunch of stuff coming in the next patches. So really excited for that. Hopefully like people will feel better about 14 because I know Endwalker has been a little, after the initial release, which was great, people have been like kind of like fizzling out on it. So hopefully they could recapture some of that interest. I mean, I've always loved 14. I'm a big simp for it. So super excited for Dawntrail. So yeah.
All right. I'll talk about my number 3 game, which is The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. I know, we hate remasters. We hate that Naughty Dog just keeps going back to The Last of Us, but I'm looking forward to jumping back into this one just because, when it came out, obviously it was like sort of like the height of the pandemic and everyone was sort of like stuck inside, and then the game dropped and everyone had a differing opinion on it. And I cannot wait to see what people say about this game again, because it is such a controversial and sort of polarizing game. And also the new content with the whole roguelike mode where you could play as like pretty much any character within Last of Us series, and how that's going to play out. I want to see if there are any significant graphical improvements. 60 frames is always like a big thing for me, obviously, within console gaming, and I cannot wait to re-experience this game and sort of see if they've done anything significantly different or improved anything that is going to really catch my eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I could play it for the first time, so that's going to be really interesting to see the discourse for real this time. And, after playing God of War Valhalla, I do wonder how they're going to do this roguelite mode. Like, it obviously doesn't seem like they're going to add any story to it, because, I think it actually kind of hurts this game a bit more, because I'm like, man, Valhalla's, like, roguelite mode was fucking great. So hopefully this one's also, like, fun gameplay-wise as well. Like, hopefully it could capture that same sort of thing that Valhalla was able to bring in for free, by the way. So, but yeah, Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, also going to play it as well. And hopefully it's a good time, because, again, I know it's contentious. So we'll see how I feel about that game when it comes out. All right, so last JRPG I have on here is Metaphor ReFantazio. So this is made by Atlas. Like, this is made by the Persona 5 team, actually, since the new P Studio is making Persona 6, and the people that made Persona 5 are making this game. So obviously it has a lot of elements from Persona and just SMT in general. You have it looks like you can summon demons and stuff, has all the same spell names or whatever, but it's set in high fantasy medieval setting, which is new for this, like, sorry, for Atlas. Like, they haven't really done that with the SMT formula too much. So it's gonna be interesting to see them take on this like way more fantastical like setting, because I feel like the reason why SMT and Persona are so unique is because they're more set in either modern times or post-apocalyptic times. So having a set in the super high fantasy world where like summoning demons and shit isn't like probably not that out of the ordinary is gonna be pretty interesting how they do that. And it's just gonna be cool to see how they remix certain mechanics. Like maybe is like I think the calendar system is still there from Persona, but it's probably not gonna work the same exact way. So there's a lot of cool things in here that I really want to see them tackle and see how different it could be from Persona. And since it's made by the same director that made Persona 5, that makes me very excited because Persona 5 is like a top 10 game for me. So very excited to see when this actually comes out in fall. So yeah, still no solid release date, so because it could be delayed, but I doubt it. I think it's gonna be fall. So yeah, a lot of great Atlas stuff coming. So really excited for that as well.
All right, I guess I'll talk about my last solo game, which is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I've never played the original on the 3DS because that was one of the many games that came out on the console that I missed out on when it came out, and I think it's the most controversial Luigi's Mansion title when it comes to all three of them. A lot of people don't like sort of how it's structured, sort of how they changed a lot of things to make it for a 3DS title. So obviously it's going to be on the Switch, which is obviously a hybrid console / handheld device. So I wonder if they're going to change anything at all or make any improvements, because when it comes to Nintendo and their remakes and HD remasters or whatever you want to call them, they always change something up. They always try to improve upon it from when it originally came out, because obviously they have that chance to do so. So I wonder if they're going to do anything like that to make it so that it's a better game overall.
Yeah, when I played Luigi's Mansion 2 for the first time, I was like pretty disappointed in it. But I can't really like it was like the structure I think I didn't really like at the time. I think it was also just the controls, because I think controlling like 3D stuff on a 3DS could feel a little cumbersome. Yep. So I feel like with an extra analog stick and just some refinements, I feel like I will enjoy the game a lot more than I did back then. I still actually need to finish Luigi's Mansion 3. I haven't gotten around to that. I feel bad because that game actually is very good. I forgot what came out at the time that distracted me, but probably after I play Luigi's Mansion 2, I'm probably just going to start a new game in 3 and just play through that again, because I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is like really good. So being able to give Luigi's Mansion 2 another chance, I think that's pretty good. Even though it's super random, just to like, here's Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, I'm like, all right, I guess. I'm kind of excited to give it another chance as well whenever this comes out. So yeah, I guess we'll see when that comes out. And I don't even know when it comes out.
Yeah.
I was gonna say October, but I would just made that shit up. I don't know. All right, so now we have 3 games here that we're all share. I guess I'll start with Princess Peach Showtime. So this is coming out like in March, I believe. And honestly, it just looks like super fucking cute. Like two grown 25-year-old men talking about Princess Peach Showtime. But no, like honestly, it looks like super good. it just gives me really big Kirby vibes a lot. I don't know, it's because of like it's all pink, or it's like she could transform into like different like outfits and like do crazy stuff. But I'm hoping. I think I said this when they showed the gameplay trailer a few months ago. I kind of hope the gameplay isn't too disjointed. Like I hope it's still like all fun to play as, because it seems like every power up you get is like a totally different gameplay style. So some of them are like more beat 'em up combat with like the sword and the martial artists, and then some is like Cooking Mama shit. And then you have the detective Peach, which is like you're solving crimes and stuff. So hopefully it all flows together nicely, and it's not like too jarring whenever the gameplay shift happens. But either way, I think the presentation and the graphics are great. It's cool that Peach is getting her own game again. It's been it's been a very long time since Super Princess Peach, so like it's really cool to see another Peach game. So hopefully this does well, and it's fun, because that's all I could really care for, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is my most second anticipated game of the year, just because it seems like that this is something the most different that they've done with, I guess, like a Mario spin-off title in a while, not just because it's Princess Peach, but also just like, they're doing, the whole, I guess like the Barbie thing where like she can do anything, like
right.
she could, have like all of these different hats and sort of take on all of these different sort of jobs or sort of hats, if you will, whatever the fuck I'm trying to say here. But yeah, it just seems like that it's going to be a lot of fun. It's coming out this March 22nd.
Yeah.
So, we're just a few short months away. I'm sure that we're going to get, like you said, a Nintendo Direct sometime in February, and we're going to get another look at this game. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I wonder how it's actually going to play, like you said, with the whole gameplay switching. I hope it's not too jarring and it's not too crazy one from the other, just because, I think that that's like a pretty big thing that you don't want players to really feel, where it's like, oh, like this gameplay style was like really, really bad, but like this other stuff was like pretty good to like, control and everything like that. Because I think that's why It Takes Two was like game of the year winner when it came out, because literally every single gameplay style within that game was like perfect, flawless. So
yeah, like It Takes Two was like a masterful game. I don't know how they made all that shit work. So only Princess Peach could capture that energy too, because it's really hard to do that sort of stuff and make it like flow well and play well,
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we also got Paper Mario here. Again, we don't really know much besides, it being a remake. But, if it's like the original Thousand Year Door, then it should be really good. Actually, it's kind of weird to say this, but I actually never like finished Thousand Year Door. I got like halfway through it and just didn't finish it. I have played all the Mario and Luigi games. Well, I played all of them besides Paper Jam because I didn't get it. But I played all the Mario and Luigi games. I played Paper Mario 1, and I played Sticker Star, which was bad, and Super Paper Mario. But I never played Thousand Year Door all the way, so I'm really excited to actually play this for the first, complete it for the first time, because I love the original Paper Mario. And I know Thousand Year Door is literally that, but like better. And now that we're getting a remake, the game obviously looks better, but I do wonder if they're going to add more stuff to it. Like if they're going to add an extra, epilogue or campaign to it, or if they're going to add new abilities or whatever. I'm interested to see if they add anything new to it, or if it's just going to be a graphical update. Either way, I'm excited to see it in like beautiful. It looks great. I know it's paper, but the shit looks good,
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the best Mario RPGs ever. People recall it as. There's a reason why the game still hovers around $100 on the GameCube, along with a bunch of other GameCube games. Yeah, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. It has its own reputation. For them to actually go back into the vault and remake it, remastered, whatever you want to call it, for the Nintendo Switch is kind of exciting. I cannot wait to actually play it for the first time. I'm very much not the big RPG guy like Damian is over here. So, having Paper Mario, probably the best Paper Mario RPG, get a spotlight on the Nintendo Switch is very exciting. I cannot wait to actually play it for the first time ever and see exactly what the fuss is all about.
All right, and last thing we have on our list is Star Wars Outlaws. So this is the big Ubisoft Star Wars game. It's like, oh, you could go to multiple planets and you could fly and all this shit. So obviously with any Ubisoft game, you always gotta be careful. You always gotta be like, okay, like we kind of know what to expect. Have a big open world, a lot of objectives to do and all that. But I really like the setting of you being like this sort of scoundrel, sort of Han Solo type, flying through the stars, solving whatever things you got to do in the universe or whatever. Take down some stormtroopers or whatever. I think the fantasy of it is like super cool. And honestly, the Ubisoft formula doesn't even bother me too much for something like this, because I'm like, I feel like it could work pretty well. It just depends how the writing is and how the game, if the game is fun or not, right? Because when most people play a Star Wars game, you want to swing a lightsaber most of the time, and obviously that's not going to happen because that's not what this game is. So I'm interested to see how they really take that shooter gameplay from like other Star Wars games and apply it to this game, and just like how the game is going to be structured and stuff. But honestly, I'm kind of hyped for this game. I hope it's good, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the first, I guess, Star Wars open world games where it's, actually you're able to just do whatever you want, travel to all these planets and sort of explore. Obviously, you're a bounty hunter. Obviously, everyone wants to be a Jedi, have a cool lightsaber and do all that stuff. But, I think for the game to be called Star Wars Outlaws and you to be a bounty hunter, I think that obviously fits. And I think that can also have a much more compelling story in some regards as well, because I think that we've seen like the Jedi story done over and over again, and I think that with this one to sort of have, like you said, that Han Solo sort of type of character and sort of have them go on their own adventure and sort of how that sort of plays out, I think that that's going to be pretty cool. Obviously it is Ubisoft, so we're gonna have to be a little cautious in terms of like what they're going to do with this open world third person action adventure formula, but I'm excited to see more of it. That first 10-minute gameplay trailer looked really good, all things considered. So yeah, hopefully it does stay on the track for this year, but if not, if it comes out next year, then it is what it is.
Yeah, hopefully it's good. I think Ubisoft has been okay in the last few years. Like, well, not a few years, but like the last year. Like, I think Assassin's Creed Mirage did okay. Like, it was kind of going back to what people want from Assassin's Creed. Obviously, Prince of Persia, now Star Wars Outlaws, and Avatar. They look like they're cooking up some things here. So hopefully it is good.
Yeah. And one game I actually missed from my list is Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely missed that one. I thought Luigi's Mansion 2 was the last game. But anyways, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, this is my number 4 most anticipated game of the year, just because I played a lot of, I believe it was Miniland Mayhem on the DS, and I love that. That was a lot of fun. That was pretty much my main Mario vs. Donkey Kong game, even though it came out much later within, I guess, the series' life cycle. I played the original on the Game Boy Advance. I don't know if I've actually finished it, but I did play a lot of those like DSiWare games as well of Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and they were like fun little puzzle games, so I cannot wait to jump back into the original one now that it's all within HD and everything like that. And I believe this game is also going to be $50 as opposed to $60. Yeah, $50. So obviously like they know what kind of game this is. It's not like a big scrolling like Mario Wonder kind of game. So for them to charge $10 less, I think that is kind of cool for Nintendo to do. But yeah, just cannot wait to see what they're able to do with this brand new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game, and maybe this will be a revival of the series when it comes out February 16th.
Yeah, I've always been confused because I only know them as like March of the Minis and all that shit. So when they announced this game, I don't really like the Lemmings gameplay that much. Like, it's like whatever. But then I'm like, oh no, this one's like the actual platformer one. Like, he's like you like jump and shit. I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm like, my interest got like a lot higher after that. Like, it plays a lot more like the original Donkey Kong. So you're not like you're not moving like Mario usually does. But it looks good. I think this was the one I heard a lot more good things about. So I'm definitely more interested than I was when it first got announced. But we'll see if I pick it up immediately. I probably will, but probably later.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much the 10 games from me and Damian that we are looking forward to later this year. Let us know in the comments or on social media what games you guys are looking forward to in 2024. But yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add, good sir?
No, that is everything.
All right, so thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 129. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
Later.